So we've now got our Blender objects in, but at the moment they don't do anything. They will not move. It's now an object we've dragged into the scene and not just a mesh, but that's not really helpful because Blender ROM won't move. And we can't use it again, especially if it's AI, we want to be able to reuse it elsewhere. So let's delete Blender ROM. But Blender Alison, I'm going to keep because I want to turn her into a prefab, something that can be made again and again very easily. So I just drag where it says the words Blender Alison down into my assets. And you'll see now it says Blender Alison. She'll have all of the properties of Alison from in here. And now I'm going to delete her from here. What you'll see is a name, and we're going to change the name to Prefab Alison because we don't want to confuse ourselves with the Blender version. So the Blender one is just the Blender file. Blender Alison, sorry, Prefab Alison is going to have some more details in. So let's have a look at Prefab ROM. Prefab ROM has an animator, which we've got in Alison, but also has got a rigid body, which is what simulates physics, and a player controller. So if I go to our prefab, let's add in a rigid body. So you click Add Component, start typing. I'm going to leave this exactly as it is for now, and then we need to add in a script, and our script is this player controller one. So I can start typing in player controller and it comes up with it there, or I can just drag this onto here. I might change the speed to 3 to match ROM. So it's nearly there. If I just drag Alison on, there's two things missing. First off is the camera. The camera will be looking at Prefab ROM. And I'm sure that we just saw Alison falling. Wait, where has she gone? We have lost her completely. Well, that's because we need certain constraints on her. So firstly, if you look at Prefab ROM, and it's got some constraints. And that's to stop him rotating around the X, Y, and Z axes, because he would just fall over. When you're more advanced and your scripts are more advanced, you don't have to do this, but we are doing it for now. So let's freeze the rotation on those three. Secondly, what we're going to do is, instead of having a camera on Prefab ROM, we're going to just drag the camera onto Prefab Alison. So we need to change the position on the main camera, 0, 0, 0. You'll notice that it's just by Alison's feet. So let's just move it up a bit and center it and back, and then you'll see there's a little preview around here that we can see Alison. If you want to copy these numbers, that should be absolutely fine. Now when I press play, you will see Alison falling through the floor. So how do we stop Alison from moving through the floor? Well, we don't actually have anything on her telling her to stop falling. Prefab ROM has got a lot of information, but also each section of him has got different bits, different things that are important. So if I go through all of these, you'll see body has got a box collider, arm doesn't, leg does, and the other leg does. So we're going to do the same with Prefab Alison. If we put on a box collider for the body, so a component box collider, and we do it for the legs as well, because it's not so important the other parts. There we go. So let's have a look now. There we go. So we've got the camera in the right place. We have got all the rotation correct, and she won't just fall over. But feel free to try those bits. And we've got colliders on her legs and her body so that she can bump into things, including the floor. So that is how we made our prefabs. To update the prefab over here, we're just going to drag from the scene on top of our prefab down here. And now all the settings in the prefab will match what was on the scene. I'm going to delete Ron. So there we go. That's how we turn a mesh into a prefab that we can control.